What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sweet Advice Podcast. We have our good friend Ramon Rodriguez again. So we're going to be talking some boxing and some World Cup, 2018 World Cup. For those of you who don't like soccer, I don't give a shit. You kiss my ass, but we're going to be talking a lot about soccer because the World Cup is here, and it's only every 4 years. And we're going to talk about why the World Cup is the greatest tournament in sports, anywhere in sports. So first, we're going to talk about a little bit about boxing, and because there's a lot of boxing matches that we've actually been to and that we covered, but we haven't discussed it. Right, Raymond?
Yeah, right.
So first of all, we're going to go back to talk about the PBC fight. PBC is Premier Boxing Championships. And we actually went to go see Josecito Lopez versus Miguel Cruz. And what did you think about that fight, Raymond?
I thought it was a good fight. Early on, I thought Josecito was dominating the fight. But as the fight carried on, I kind of thought Cruz was coming on. But every time he would come on, it's like Josecito would just step on the gas, man. It kind of like settle him down. But it was like he would fight in spurts, Cruz. He was fighting really good, but it was only in spurts. But like I said, like down the stretch of the fight, I did see him like kind of start taking over a little bit. And I don't know if it's because of Josecito's age, man, and the wars he's been in. But,
right.
But he did good. Josecito came to fight. You could tell from the beginning he was using his jab very well. And, I mean, he did good, but he did start to fade a little bit towards the end of the fight.
Yeah, and I actually, because I ended up getting media credentials, remember? You were standing right next to me.
Yeah.
So thank you to PBC for hooking me up with media credentials at the Don Haskins here in El Paso. It's like a different experience when you get to be on the floor to actually watch the match. I mean, you can hear the punches, you can feel it, like the thumps when somebody's getting hit to the ribs, to the chin, and you can see the sweat flying off. And being ringside was pretty awesome. So
you could hear the coaches.
Yeah, you can hear Robert Garcia telling them,
jab,
and in Spanish, English, all the stuff going on. The cut men, giving instructions and all that stuff. Is really awesome. When you're in the stands, it's just more cheering and all that stuff.
And then like I don't know if I told you, but I mean the reason I was next to you was because they couldn't find me a seat.
Yeah. So PB, I don't know what they did, but they oversold maybe the seats or something, and then they had to find a place.
Yeah. Because
the table that I was sitting on, the media table, they ended up putting a family right next to me.
Yeah,
I was like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah,
like,
because when I went, you were like on your computer, and then there was like families next.
But I ended up talking to the guy. He was really cool, and he's trying to get his kid to become a boxer.
Oh, wow.
So he says he knew this guy, Terry Green, who's a coach, and I was trying to get him on the podcast. So I need to hit that guy up to see what's going on with that. So Josecito Lopez ends up winning, and he looked good. I mean, he looked good compared to his previous fights. He looked strong. He looked fast. But yeah, towards the end, he started kind of fading. And I actually asked him about that. Like, how did you feel Miguel Cruz's youth, his age on you? And of course, like boxers always say, like, oh, it was nothing, man. I felt great and this and that. But we could all see it. Lopez, he's been through a lot of wars. He's fought Canelo. He's fought Victor Ortiz, where he broke his jaw. Yeah. But yeah, after so many years, your body just starts just breaking down, and it's just not good for a boxer. Once you start getting into your 30s, mid 30s, because he's 33, I think, something 34. Like and it's only a matter of time before.
But you know what? I thought he looked pretty fresh.
He looked good. He looked good.
Because he hadn't fought like in a while, right?
Right. I think his body recuperated.
He had a nice little break there, and I think he looked pretty fresh. But towards the end of the fight, that's when he started kind of fading off. But he looked good. I felt he won the fight, and I thought it was a fair win. It was a clear win. But yeah, I don't know how he's gonna do with the top dogs at 147. I mean,
Right.
it's a stacked division. I mean,
I don't see him lasting 5 rounds against Errol Spence, Keith Thurman.
well, I don't know about Keith Thurman, man.
Man, come on,
He's
dude.
been out for a while, and
He
hey, you
had
know what?
surgery.
That would be a good coming back fight for
It would.
Keith Thurman.
It would. Yeah, because Lopez is still strong.
Yeah,
he's a
dog in
warrior.
there, yeah.
He'll die in the ring, and yeah, but he's very susceptible to guys that are quick and run circles around.
Yeah, and you know what? The thing about him, he doesn't have the best defense in the world. So he's a warrior, man. Like
His
you
chin
said,
is
he
his
goes in
defense.
there, he throws a lot of punches. He likes to mix it up, but I mean, as far as his defense, it's just not all there. And I just see him having a hard time versus the hard hitters like Spence and Thurman and the guys who can move.
Right. All right. So on the undercard, we had Anthony Durrell versus Abraham Hahn. Abraham Hahn is, I like the guy. He's very charismatic. He has a gym here in El Paso, like a jiu-jitsu gym, right? He's real big into martial arts, and obviously he's a boxer. And I'm not gonna knock Hahn because look, if you're a boxer and you made it to where you're on TV, on national TV, and you have thousands of fans, and you're in an arena and you're fighting a guy who only had one defeat, you're a somebody in boxing, right?
Yeah.
Abraham Hahn, he made it, but unfortunately, you could just tell, dude. Like, I mean, he was almost moving like he was in a cage, in an octagon. Like he's very awkward.
Yeah, he's
doesn't
very
throw a
awkward.
lot of straight jabs. He's looking for that one punch, and it was just kind of very sad to see him get beat down for 10 rounds.
Yeah, you know what? I thought he was doing too much.
Yeah.
Like he was just doing, like he had too much movement. Like he kept moving side to side. He had too much movement, but he wasn't like putting out as much. So like he was moving side to side. He was moving back and forth, moving his head, which is all good. But like he just wasn't being effective. So I felt like he was being ineffective with his like energy output.
Right. He's just wasting it.
Yeah, he was wasting energy. And credit to the guy, man. He has a solid chin.
Right.
I mean, I don't think he was dropped once, and he was hit.
Yeah,
like
he got dropped once.
He got dropped once.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Was it that time when they were like kind of wrestling on the floor, or
No. It was at the end of like round 1 or 2.
Oh yeah.
Where Durrell caught him clean, and he was like off. It was an off balance hit, but his glove touched the canvas, and then they did the count.
I wasn't there yet. I think I was just.
You had just gotten there,
I just
right?
got in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hats off to Abraham Hahn. He's from El Paso. He's a Texas guy. But I think he needs to stick to martial arts because this boxing thing ain't working out.
But I mean, naturally, he's a boxer, right? He's just doing martial arts like as a side thing, or
yeah, but even naturally, like it just doesn't look good.
yeah.
He's not a very good technical fighter, and he will get killed with somebody like Anthony Durrell. I actually felt like he was taking it easy.
Yeah, towards the later rounds, he was kind of just toying with.
There was one round where I was clearly watching, and Durrell could have like uppercut the hell out of him, and he didn't. Like he just saw it and he kind of stepped back because the fight was pretty much over. It was like round 8 or 9. It was only 10 rounds. He was up on every scorecard. He was probably like, well, what's the point? I don't want the crowd to turn on me.
Yeah, or I need the rounds.
Right.
Yeah, I need
right.
the rounds,
I need the experience. I need the the training, the just sharpen up on my skills and things like that. But Durrell, man, he's up there. He's he's a force to be reckoned with, and I can't wait till his next fight to see what's gonna happen because he looked really good. He looks sharp. He looks strong. He's only had one loss to Badu Jack,
he's pretty good.
Had a draw with Adonis Stevenson.
Yeah, going up in weight.
Yeah, he moved up in weight, but I wonder who Durrell's gonna fight next because that should be a great fight.
I mean, the division is stacked.
Yeah.
The 168, you have a lot of good fighters. You have one of my favorite fighters right now in boxing, David Benavides.
Benavides.
Yeah, Benavides. He's a big guy. He knows how to mix it up. He's a power puncher, and he puts it all out. So I think he's a number 1 in the division. And then you have Caleb Plant.
Right.
You have James DeGale. You have Zurdo Ramirez. So I don't know how far
What
Durrell
about
will go.
Rosado?
Gabe Rosal. I think Gabe Rosal is like always willing to go up to like, he's at like 160, 168. But I think if you give him a good fight at 168, he'd be willing to take it.
You pay him enough, that dude will fight anybody.
Oh, yeah, that guy's a warrior, man. But yeah, 168, I don't know, man. I don't know how Derrell will look. He looked great this last fight against a limited
But it was
Han.
Han.
Yeah, it was Han. So we'll see how he does, or who's his opponent for his next fight. But it's a tough division, man. And I think the top two guys in the division, clearly Benavides and Ramirez, and they're on a collision course.
Right.
And well, you have Caleb Plant, but I don't know. I have him at the third in the division.
Right. And I'm really proud of myself because on my website, thesweetadvice.com, and you've seen it, right? I wrote a prediction, and it was like, you could just call me Nostradamus, dude, because I clearly didn't I clearly write exactly the way the fight was gonna go.
Yeah, you did. You've done that like twice.
I've done it like 2-3 times, and I don't know. I don't get the respect I deserve, right?
Yeah.
From the media, ESPN and Fox Sports and
PBS
and PBS with Sesame Street or
Sesame Street.
But yeah, you should guys check out my website. I have all the fight predictions, and I'm pretty much spot on with my predictions. Not that I'm the best or anything like that, but I put a lot of effort into doing research on these fighters and what I think is going to happen. And if you don't see a prediction for a fight, that's because I don't want to look stupid and do something and write something that's just totally off. Right. So if I don't feel it, then I don't write about it. I'm not like all these people that write every prediction and then half the time you're wrong. So I mostly go for the ones that I know the fighters and I know what's to expect. All right, so then we have Jesse Vargas versus Adrian Broner. Remember that fight?
That was a good fight.
That was an awesome fight, man.
That was a good fight.
It was April 21st in New York on Showtime. It was a 12-round fight. And so what did you think about that?
You know what? Honestly, I think Jesse Vargas did most of the work. I mean, he did what he had to do, but Jesse Vargas, man, he just doesn't have any power.
Yeah.
He has like zero power. Well, not zero power because he's knocked out, I think, Saddam Ali, but you know what happened to Saddam Ali as well. But
that was horrible.
Yeah, he just got trucked. But I think Jesse Vargas, he looked great. I mean, he did what he had to do, but Adrian Broner he was taking everything. And there was flashes here and there where Adrian Broner was just taking over the fight, and where you can tell that Jesse Vargas put everything into it, and he wouldn't even flinch.
Right.
And Broner, when he would put it on Vargas, he would back him up. But you know what? Vargas also has a good chin, because Broner, a lot of those punches that he landed on Vargas would have probably knocked somebody out or knocked somebody down.
Yeah, exactly.
But Vargas himself has a good chin. He has a warrior's heart. So I mean, that's what made it an interesting fight. I think Vargas might have slightly edged the fight, but I think overall, like as a fight itself, I think Broner kind of took it, not on a round by round basis, but like as of like who won the fight.
Right.
But on a round by round, I think Vargas slightly, but I think Broner looked a little bit better. And if he continues just training hard, I think he could still kind of mix it up. I don't think he'll ever reach the top anymore, but I mean he's a dog in there. So
right. So my opinion of this is that so the fight ended in a draw.
Right.
And I think Jesse Vargas should have won. I think he maybe by a round or two. Mm-hmm. I have to go back and look at the rounds exactly. But I think Vargas just did way more. He did. I mean, he out-jabbed him. The body shots he was throwing was crazy. But like you said, he has no power. So it's like, if I was, punching a heavyweight, it's gonna do nothing. Yeah. I have no power against like a Mike Tyson or a Lennox Lewis or somebody like that. It's not gonna do anything. But it looked awesome. Yeah. I mean, the body shots that Vargas was throwing on Broner. Yeah. You would have thought Broner would have been dead. Like his liver would have exploded inside of his body. His kidneys would have been ripped. But it was doing absolutely nothing. It had no power on it. And from what I took away from the fight is, they both need to stop fighting. Like, they're trash. They're both... Vargas is good technically, but he has no power, and he's gonna get viciously knocked out by somebody who's on a different level, like a Danny Garcia or one of those no look left hooks.
Yeah.
It's just gonna just murder him.
I don't know if he'll get knocked out, but I know that he'll probably get hurt really bad.
Well, I mean,
because he has a heart and he has a chin, man. So
he does have a chin, but then Broner,
he hasn't been put down. Not even Manny Pacquiao put him down.
yeah, but
he has a good chin.
Pacquiao hasn't been the same since 7 years ago, and Broner, he's just trash, dude. Like, he talks a good game. He's a decent fighter, but he's not. Look, okay, so let's discuss this. In my opinion, there are three kind of boxers.
Mm-hmm.
So we have your average boxer,
Right.
somebody who can get onto the big stage. They might even come out on TV, like Abraham Hahn, right? He's a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
He got there, right?
He's a gatekeeper.
Right. He's a stepping stone.
Yeah,
He's a
stepping
glorified sparring partner,
Yeah, right.
But you're a boxer. You're there. You made it. You're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not maybe your biggest payday, $1 million or something like that.
Right.
And then you have your really good fighters. I mean, really good fighters. Maybe we can even throw Jesse Vargas, Adrian Broner there.
Yeah, well,
right? They're
man.
really good fighters, right? But then above that, you have your elite special fighters. The fighters that the Jesse Vargas and the Adrian Broners and the Hans of the world, you can't touch them. I mean, they're on another level. They're just... there's something about them. We don't know what it is. They were born that way. Whatever it is, they train harder.
It's like a mix of like training and like natural ability.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just natural. It's natural, and they were born to be champions. It's just something you can't teach, and so, Jesse Vargas, Adrian Broner, all of these other guys, they're not special. They're not elite. They're not there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The thing about this last fight with Broner and Vargas, honestly thought that Broner, like, he didn't give it his all. Like, I think that's the thing with Broner, man. Like, you always like
Keeping
end up
it safe.
question. Yeah. You always like have the question of like, well, could he do better? Because
Right.
like when he was like at 135, he was a beast, man. And even like at 140, 147, the guy's a little tank. Like, he can take a hit. He hits hard. But, like, there's always that what if, like, can he do better? And I felt like in the Vargas and Broner fight, I felt Vargas won, but I feel that Broner ended up leaving the fight with a bigger upside.
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like he could, if he trains harder, but that's always a question with him, like, well, is he going to give it his all? Like, is he going to be serious in training? Is he going to, like, focus in camp, So, I mean, that's why you can never kind of, like, really trust him. But I mean, as a fighter, I feel he's a good fighter. It's just that he's too undisciplined.
Right.
But I mean,
too wild.
Yeah, too wild. He likes to party. He doesn't take things serious.
Right.
But he's good.
That's
he's
why Mayweather kind of disassociated from him, because they
Right.
were like really good friends.
Yeah, they
and
were.
then even Mayweather, as he got older, he got wiser. It was all about business, about money. And the partying stopped, and now he's a promoter and all that. But Broner thinks he's still like 12 years old.
Well, I mean, for Mayweather, I feel like he still parties because he still does. Well, but you know what? The thing with Mayweather...
Yeah, he's got the money, though.
Yeah, he goes to the strip clubs. He goes to the clubs. But you know what? He doesn't, like, drink or do drugs.
Right.
Like, he's there.
Right.
But, like, he's like, you see him, he's drinking water. Or, like, he's just kind of, like, hanging out, like, throwing money,
Right, just
like,
for the media, for the cameras.
Yeah, exactly. Making sure, like, his guys are having fun. But, like, as far as him, like, he's taking care of himself.
Right.
So.
All right, so let's move on very quickly to another one that we haven't talked about. Wilder versus Ortiz. What'd you think about that one?
That was a good fight, too, man. There's been a lot of good fights, actually. You know what? Wilder in that fight proved to me that he definitely wants to unify the division, man. Like, the guy was a lot of the times during the fight, like, the guy was getting, like, outboxed and stuff. He was getting hit clean, like, but he kept coming and coming and coming. He never gave up. And like, I don't know what round was it, like the 8th or 9th, or what round was it when he got, like, cracked, like, really bad, and like he kind of went
back. It was the 7th.
The 7th. Oh yeah.
No. Wait a minute. I think it was the. Yeah, was it the seventh?
It was
Seventh or eighth?
one of those rounds. But yeah, you know what? He got hit really hard. He weathered the storm. He didn't go down.
Right.
So I mean, the guy has heart, man.
And Ortiz is a big
Ortiz is a
mofo,
big guy.
man.
A lot of people don't realize that he's that big because Wilder himself
God.
is like 6'6".
I mean, his neck is bigger than like my stomach.
My torso.
And I'm fat, dude. Like, yeah, that dude is
that guy's
massive.
big.
I mean,
yeah, he's massive.
and what people don't understand is Ortiz, he had a huge amateur background.
Oh,
like all Cubans.
Yeah, he comes from the Cuban
All
school.
Cubans, they're like required. If you don't do amateurs, don't even think about boxing.
Right.
Like you can't just jump in thinking that you're very athletic. You might be athletic, you might be, super strong and have a good chin, but they won't let you, right? Because everything's controlled in Cuba. Like they have centers where you go and you train, and if you're not in that center, they will not support you. They just won't, because everything is controlled by the coaches, by their strength and conditioning people, and they just won't support you. You can't be like Sergio Martinez at 21 years old, just walking into a gym and just taking it up, because nobody will support you. But Ortiz, I mean, I predicted that Wilder was going to knock out Ortiz in 5 rounds. I got it on my website. I'm not lying. And it almost happened. It almost happened.
Him, right? Like in the fourth?
Wilder caught him with a straight right hand like he always does, and Ortiz went down, and he looked dazed, and I was like, yes, my prediction's going to come true. Damn it, I'm amazing.
3-4-3.
Right? And then what happens? Ortiz gets up, and not only does he get up, but he starts boxing again. Yeah. And he's showing Wilder like I'm a boxer.
I have the technique.
I have the technique. I have the structure. I have the foundation. You're not gonna rattle me. But then Wilder started putting it on. I mean, Wilder's a big dude too. He's very skinny. He's like a toothpick.
Yeah.
But he's got that size and that reach. Yeah. And when he extends his right arm with full power, I don't care who you are. You're out. You're gonna go down. And we saw that, right? We saw it. TKO in the 10th round?
10th round, yeah.
And Wilder goes on to win. And so now we're in this whole thing of who would win, Wilder or Anthony Joshua.
That's a very good fight. I mean, I'm pretty biased because living here in America, even though I'm wearing my Mexico jersey, I think Wilder will finish him, man. I think he eventually lands the rights, and he eventually drops Joshua and hurts him bad, and then just finishes him off. You know what? I don't think he knocks him out, but I think the ref steps in and stops the fight.
So TKO.
Yeah.
What round? Late? Early?
I think that's going to be a barn burner, man. I think that's going to be one of those classics.
10th, 11th round?
Even less. I think that one's going to go like 7-8 rounds.
7-8 rounds,
yeah,
because they're going to just go all out.
Yeah, somebody's going to get knocked. Because, like all the beef that's been like brewing up.
Right.
Like you have the USA versus the UK. You have Wilder like always talking trash. Joshua doesn't really talk trash, but like lately he's been talking trash.
Right.
You have the whole Eddie Hearn.
I knock him spoke out.
I knock a spoke out. Yeah. You have Eddie Hearn, which is a little loudmouth. He was always talking that
Eddie
trash.
Hearn is the promoter.
Yeah, he's a promoter. Honestly, I think Eddie Hearn talks more trash than Anthony Joshua. Right. So he does the trash talking for Anthony Joshua. And he said it himself, like, I'm supposed to be the promoter. I'm the one who promotes the fight.
Right.
My fighter just stays in the gym and he does what he needs to do. But I think Wilder knocks him TKO probably like the 7th or 8th round. Wow. Joshua, don't get me wrong, man. He's a very good fighter. We've seen him against Klitschko. He's gotten up the canvas. He's knocked down his opponent. He knocked out his opponent. But I just feel like he's too stiff.
Right.
And
like a Klitschko.
Yeah, like he's just too robotic. He's powerful. Like he has, I don't know if anybody has seen the guy, but go check him out. Anthony Joshua, the guy is like a freaking model. Like he's like 6'6". He's like super cut. He's big. He's muscular. He's like a model, pretty face. But I think like all his muscle kind of like is gonna play against him because he's like too stiff. He's fundamentally sound, like he can box, he has power, but I feel like he's just too predictable, I guess. Like he doesn't move too well.
Right.
But you can say the same thing about Wilder though, because Wilder, he's kind of wild.
Yeah,
Like
I
he
mean,
he opens up and
very
he
unorthodox.
yeah, he's unorthodox, but he has that game changer, man. He has that right hand, and I feel like he'll put Joshua down. But hey, you never know.
Right.
Joshua has that power too, so I kind of see it like.
I mean, to me, I think it's still 50-50. I think it's gonna come down to whoever can land that right hand.
Right.
Because they're both gonna be gunning for it.
And they're heavyweights.
And they're both in a heavyweight fight.
Yeah, any fighter can
anything can happen. It doesn't matter who you are. Look at Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas. Doesn't matter. Heavyweight division. You both have power. You both big dudes. Who's faster? Wilder. So who can probably throw that right hand quicker with a longer reach is Wilder. But can he land it? Because he's so wild and Josh was so technical.
Yeah,
like an Ortiz, right? Maybe even better than Ortiz.
I wouldn't say better.
I don't know yet, but
because Ortiz was like gold medal,
right? Olympic,
like
and stuff like that. But
well, so was Joshua.
Yeah.
Joshua was a gold medal Olympian too, I believe.
Well, look how big he is. He could have won just with one hand, dude. That's with all the other Olympians.
Just go in there and just brawl.
I mean, look, guys, if you've never seen Anthony Joshua, Google a picture of him. I mean, the guy is a freak of nature. I mean, he's what, 6?
Yeah, he's
6'8"?
6'6" or something.
6'6", 6'8", something. I mean, he's just massive dude. He's got muscles on top of muscles. I mean, this guy is just a beast.
Guy.
Wilder, he looks like a toothpick, but he's like 6'9" or 6'8".
I think they're about the same size, actually. He's like 6'8". 6'6", somewhere
whatever.
around there.
Anything above of 6'2", like I can't even see you anymore, right? Because I'm like 5'11" or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these guys are just massive, right? So, I think it's still 50-50. I'm not gonna do my prediction maybe until like a week before the fight.
It's not even announced.
And the fight's not even announced yet. But I heard that Wilder already accepted terms to fight in the UK. That's what I heard.
I told you.
That's what I heard. My opinion is Wilder shouldn't do that. He should fight in Vegas. That's the only place for a mega fight of that caliber. T-Mobile Arena or the MGM Grand Garden Arena, one of those two. But hey, it's, I get it. It's more money, right? More fans at the stadium. And if Wilder wins in the UK, Anthony Joshua could never fight in the UK ever again. He cannot. Not a big fight. Not a big fight like that. He's gonna have to come to America.
Well, you gotta understand
for a rematch at least.
You gotta understand, depending on how the fight goes too. I mean, if Joshua looks great, because a lot of the time boxing fans appreciate even if the fighter loses, but like if he goes out and puts out an effort.
Yeah, but if you lose.
But you put on
the problem with this fight ever happening was the whole UK or USA. Okay, so now you're agreeing, I'm going to go fight in the UK. If I win and you want a rematch, you're going to have to come to America.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I
mean, so
agree with
that's that.
Oh, yes.
And then after that, if you want another big fight, I don't know, man, you're gonna have to go to Vegas or something.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's any bigger fight than Wilder and Joshua. Honestly, I don't see nobody in the horizon.
Pulev or what's his name or Ortiz. You still got Ortiz in the mix.
You still got Ortiz. So and before I forget, Wilder did earn a medal in the Olympics too.
Yeah,
bronze.
He did.
The bronze bomber.
The bronze bomber. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about two more very quickly before we switch over. So we have Lomachenko and Linares.
Great fight.
What do you think?
A lot of good fights, right? I feel like I'm saying great fight for everything.
They were awesome.
Lomachenko Linares, it was a good fight. I think Lomachenko, with this fight, he officially goes up to my. Well, he went up to my number one, but then there was another fight. He went up to my number one.
We'll talk about in a minute.
He went up to my number one in the pound for pound list. I mean, the guy showed grit, determination. He got off the canvas. He knocked out his opponent. The fight had everything. It had everything that a boxing fan wants. It had action. It had knockdowns. It had determination. The guy got off the floor. He came up. But yeah, man, Lomachenko's special. He's a special guy. And you know what? The problem with Lomachenko, well, the one thing that I saw about Lomachenko prior to this fight, or what I believed, was that he didn't have any power. You know, like I kind of saw him go into the fight. He would pity pad and he kind of move around, and he would make his opponents quit, which is I think even worse than like knocking somebody out, because like
that is worse.
Yeah,
it's demoralizing.
Yeah, because you're like consciously saying like I don't want to fight no more. So that's pretty bad. But I hadn't seen him knock out somebody since I think like Rocky Martinez with that uppercut. Remember, like
right.
He had like made like 5 opponents quit straight. But this fight, man, like he went up to a higher weight, knocked out the bigger guy. So the guy can punch. I think
and it was a body shot.
Yeah, it was a body shot. I think the way that he's fighting, the way that he fought with Linares, he has to be careful though.
Yeah.
He's being too aggressive. I feel like he has the tools to be a great fighter. He's already a great fighter, but I feel he has the tools to where he doesn't need to do that, like get into that type of fight. Right. I feel like he went up to 135, and the fight was so like, it was like an anticipated fight that he felt like he needed to prove a point to the public. But I feel like he could be a little more cautious, because you saw what happened when he got caught with that right hand.
Well, he just walked straight in.
Yeah, he walked straight in. And
hands down, and boom.
Yeah, he was just being too aggressive, man. And I feel like he needs to be careful, because there's some guys going up in weight. I mean, he's not the bigger guy anymore. He's a smaller guy. The more technical, smaller guy. But
he's getting older, too.
And he's getting older, too, so he has to be careful. He's a great fighter. I just feel that style of fight that he fought against Linares is not the best style of fighting for him.
Right.
Going up in weight.
I think he did it because he needed to prove a point. Okay, I'm moving up in weight. This guy's a champion.
Right.
He's super fast. He's got one of the fastest hand speed we've ever seen. But he neutralized him. He did get knocked down, but he got back up, and he stopped Linares, the champion, at a higher weight at 140. But what I saw is, Lomachenko is my number one favorite fighter right now. But what I saw is he needs to stay at 140. There's absolutely no way that he can move up.
Well, that fight was at 135.
What was it, 135?
Yeah, 135.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No more than 140.
Yeah, because I was thinking that he could eventually move up to as a welterweight, but no, he's not gonna. He
could beat some guys there just based off of skill, but the top dogs.
No, it's not gonna happen. So now, what everybody wants to see is Lomachenko versus Mikey Garcia, right? And I still think Lomachenko can beat Mikey Garcia. Maybe my mind will change after Mikey Garcia fights. In 2 weeks?
Yeah. No. He fights at the end of July.
At the end of July. Okay.
Robert Easter. That's another. They're on a collision course. Right. Lomachenko and Garcia.
Right.
Because they both just unified.
Exactly.
And then they're gonna unify against each other.
And Robert Easter's not a joke. I mean, he's a contender. He's there. He's a big dude. So depending on how Mikey Garcia looks against Robert Easter, then I can start to formulate my prediction on who I think is going to win. Right now, I have Lomachenko beating Mikey Garcia, in a 12-rounder. Lomachenko winning maybe like by 4 or 5 rounds on points, something like that. Because he's just so fast, man. Like, it's just insane. He runs circles around you, but Mikey Garcia has timing. And we all know timing beats speed. I mean, it's so I don't know. I'm just, we can't wait. That's the next big fight that we're all waiting for, besides Joshua and Wilder and Triple G and Canelo.
Which was just announced.
So we'll see.
Ago. Yeah, you know what I think, Mikey Garcia. The thing is about Lomachenko. He fought a great fight, but. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to be like, you're dumb. But you know what? There was that window when he got knocked down with a right hand, man. And that's Mikey's bread and butter. Right. So,
however, I will say this. Lomachenko's super smart.
Oh, yeah.
And what is he going to do? He's going to learn from this mistake. And it's just not going to happen again.
He's super determined.
Right,
like the guy's mind game is on another level. And not even just his training, his mind game, man.
Right. So all right, so the last fight we're going to talk about is Crawford versus Horn. And we were actually in Vegas. Hold on, I got to get my I gotta get my Vegas stuff out here. We were actually in Vegas to actually go witness this fight in live and in person. So yeah, we were in Vegas. Hold on, for those of you who didn't hear it, let's do it again. We were in Vegas. Woo! All right, so we actually went to the MGM Grand to go watch. We actually went to the weigh-ins first.
Yeah, we went to the weigh-ins.
And the weigh-ins were also, that was the first weigh-in like I've ever been to. It was awesome. The energy was good. The Australians were out in full force. People of all kinds were just going. It was open to the public, which was pretty awesome. And you know, it was quicker than I thought it was gonna be. But you know, we got to see the fighters. They squared up. Horn didn't make weight at first. He had to take off his underwear and show his little penis. Yeah. But did he ended up making it after that?
I think he ended up leaving.
And then coming back
and making weight.
Okay, but we were already gone after that. So he ended up making weight. And so my prediction for the fight was that Crawford, who we both believe is a special fighter. He's that elite special fighter above everyone else.
Special fighter, man.
Because, you know, he can adjust. He's got a chin. He can brawl. He can box. He can just do it all, right? He's like a mini Sugar Ray Leonard almost kind of guy. And so my prediction for the fight, which I didn't write about, but I thought that it was going to be a little bit harder for Crawford just based on Horn's size and his ability to take a punch.
That was a question mark.
Right, that was a question mark. So if you guys ever saw the Horn versus Pacquiao fight, I mean, Pacquiao, he rocked the shit out of him. I mean, it was so bad to the point that the ref came and told Horn, like, hey, I'm here for your safety. If you don't show me something, I'm gonna stop this fight. That was in the 9th, right? And so after that, you know, Pacquiao kind of just let up. I guess he thought he was winning the fight, and Horn was fighting kind of dirty, using his head a lot, using elbows, and he got the upset. Whatever. So we're still upset about that decision. But
you know what? In that fight, Pacquiao couldn't keep him off, man. He kept coming and
but he was going in with his head, though.
But he couldn't keep him off.
Yeah, Pacquiao's a smaller guy. I think he might even be smaller than Crawford, but slightly.
Yeah, but that shows you that Pacquiao's pretty.
Yeah, he's washed up. He's washed up, and it's unfortunate.
Either that, or it shows you that Crawford is. Yeah. He is.
So Crawford. Horn. You could just tell he was outclassed from round one. Yeah. He got a couple of shots in that it was like, oh, you know, the whole crowd was like, but it was like one per round, one or every other round. Right. He was getting a right hand in there, and Crawford was just toying with his ass.
From round one.
Yeah, from round one he was toying with them, and it was just like, you know what, dude, this is not gonna go well. And we had bet on under 9 rounds, under 9 total rounds. And it was round 8 where Crawford catches Horn and knocks him down. And, the Horn gets up because he's a big guy. He could take a punch. He has heart. I'll give him that. The round ends. So then me and Raymond are looking at each other like, God damn it, we can't lose our bet. Come on, Crawford. And we already know Crawford has a killer instinct. Yeah. And that's what makes him real special. Is that there's special fighters who know they have you hurt, but they kind of just don't want to risk it. Like Mayweather, maybe even like Andre Ward, who didn't really have a killer instinct. You know, they just kind of box,
they want to make sure that they...
Right, you want to secure the victory. Yeah. But Crawford, he doesn't play those games. I mean, this dude, if he sees you hurt, he goes in for the kill. And that's exactly what he did.
He's a mean guy in there, man.
Yeah,
he's a vicious guy in there.
I mean, he don't let the smile fool you.
Yeah,
right?
That guy is pretty vicious.
And but so what ends up happening is I thought it was a premature stop. But I'm not complaining because I won my bet. I won the bet. I think Horn wasn't even that hurt. But you could tell that it was not going to end well for him. Yeah, he was bobbing down, just protecting himself, going backwards, And eventually Crawford would have really hurt him.
Yeah.
Eventually. So I think it was a good stoppage, maybe a little bit premature. But hey, we won the bet, so
and in a way, it's kind of good for Horn because, I mean, that people think it's a premature stoppage because there's gonna be talks of like, oh well, he was stopped. The fight was stopped.
Right, he was hurt badly with Pacquiao, and they didn't stop it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's gonna be that like, oh well, maybe like if it would have gone another 2 rounds, even though he was getting like outboxed the whole fight.
Yeah.
Like what would have happened? You know, like he came back against Pacquiao. So,
but he wasn't getting outclassed by Pacquiao.
Oh no,
the way Crawford was doing it. So the ref sees all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, okay,
like
since round one.
Yeah,
since round one, dude, you had no chance. Like, okay, now we're just gonna stop it now because this is embarrassing for you. You know, so
yeah, and it kind of saves, like I said, like it kind of like saves his career in a way because one, the fight gets stopped and people maybe say like, oh, it was fight prematurely, and then two, like he has a better opportunity to land a bigger fight, or not a bigger fight, but like another big name fight, you know, because the fight was quote unquote stopped prematurely. So and he wasn't knocked down, out. So.
Yep. All right. So before we switch over, what is the one fight you are most looking forward to going on forward?
That's been made, or that's
no, it doesn't even have to have been made. Just what fight do you want to see the most?
Well, honestly, the one that I want to see the most has already been made. And it was just announced 2 days ago. I'm a big Canelo fan. So I'm excited, man, for the GGG Canelo fight. The reason for that is because there's a lot of bad blood.
Canelo.
Vamos. There's bad blood, you know?
Yeah.
And that just makes for the fight to be even more exciting. I think that one for me is a bigger deal than even the Joshua Wilder. The reason, like I said, it's a bad blood fight. You have Canelo coming out. He's probably going to try to prove a point. You have GGG, you know, like trying to maintain his status as a top super middleweight. Middleweight. And you have Abel Sanchez, you know, always talking that trash. And you know Canelo, he's a prideful guy.
Right.
You could
just all tell. Mexicans are prideful.
he's a prideful guy. You could just kind of tell, you know, like he takes his sport very serious, and I mean, I still don't think he did the whole meat thing purposefully.
Clenbuterol.
Canelo
Alvaroid.
So,
Jesus.
Yeah, I feel like those insults by Golovkin and Abel Sanchez really got to him, and I feel like he's gonna come out with vengeance, man. So.
All right. So look, we're obviously we're gonna have to do a whole episode dedicated to Triple G Canelo.
Right.
Maybe a couple weeks before the fight. I have a whole conspiracy theory. We already talked about this on Canelo. I think he got caught. I think he. Look, when you're at that status and that level, you can't be that stupid. Like, okay, it's happened in the past, right? Other fighters have been caught with clenbuterol. They've been stripped of their titles and things like that coming from Mexico.
Well, you know what? Eric Morales, he got caught with clenbuterol, and he still fought Danny Garcia. And Danny Garcia knocked him out.
Yeah. but
let him fight.
Morales was like 85 years old, dude. Come on,
but they
man.
Let him,
No. Yeah, they let him fight because they
so
knew Garcia was like overwhelming the favorite. It's not going to lose. But look, we'll talk about all that later. We'll discuss my conspiracy theory on Canelo and the was it WBC or WBO? The ones the Mexicans control.
WBC.
The WBC. I don't know. I think they're all in cahoots with each other, and they have a big it's a big mafia. I mean, but maybe I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I think you are,
it's just my conspiracy theory that we'll talk about that later. So anything else on boxing that you want to discuss before we move on?
Nah, man, there's just a lot of good fights. I'm looking forward to that Garcia-Easter fight. Easter is a tall guy. He's a rangy guy. I mean, a lot of people have Garcia as a favorite, but Easter, I mean, he's a light dog. Yeah. So, who else is coming up? The Charlo twins. I don't know, man.
Charlo? Yeah, I told you, right? I had an encounter with one of the Charlos.
Yeah.
And
I took a
he
picture
got
with-
kind of mad with me, dude.
Yeah, he's pretty aggressive. Well,
Yeah.
that same night that you had that encounter, I took a picture with him. And,
Yeah, so if you guys don't know who the Charlos are, the
Okay.
Charlo brothers, they're from Houston, my hometown. But now they live, in L.A. or something like that? Because they claimed that Houston wasn't
Well, one of
promoting
them, I
them
think.
enough or something like that. It's like, dude, maybe you didn't put yourself out there enough. I don't know. I could be
well,
wrong.
I think one of them lives in L.A.
Right,
I don't know about the other one.
Jermel?
Jermel, the
I think
smaller
it's
one.
Jermel, the welterweight, right?
No, the super welterweight.
Super welterweight. But anyway, I was trying to video him, do a conversation video with him in the tunnel of the Don Haskins Center, and he kind of just basically told me to get the hell out of there. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, all right. So now we're gonna be switching over to 2018 FIFA World Cup. Hold on, here we go. Hold on.
Hey.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna try to get through this very quickly because we're running out of time.
We have a game to watch.
And we have a game to watch. Spain versus Portugal is about to come on. So we're gonna get this very very quickly. So let me just explain to this to people who don't understand soccer, who don't like soccer. It's been said that March Madness, right? The NCAA.
NCAA.
I was gonna say NCAA. I was gonna say NCAACP.
WCP, yeah. That history.
March Madness, college basketball. They said is the greatest tournament, in the world because you give the underdog a chance to become a Cinderella team, and I get all that. March Madness is pretty cool.
It's great.
It's awesome. But let me tell you about the World Cup. The World Cup is 4 years in the making, right? There is no other tournament. There's no other sport where it takes 4 years to prepare for one tournament and everything matters. Your rankings, your wins and losses, your goal differential, your division, everything matters. So as soon as this World Cup ends, the new cycle for the new World Cup begins and every win matters. And that's exactly why the United States of America did not freaking qualify because they did not put effort into the qualifications. They didn't put effort into scoring goals, into coming together to beat teams like freaking Trinidad and Tobago that nobody even knows has a team. I mean, this is insane. This is the superpower of the world. You can't put a team together to beat Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, it's just kind of sad. But what I'm trying to say here is, 4 years in the making. Your ranking determines who you're going to play, right? So 2 to 3 years from now, teams are going to be playing like Brazil, Argentina, Spain, the powerhouses, England. Your ranking determines who you're going to play.
Wait, so I thought the FIFA was random though. The picking for the groups.
No, it is random. However, if you're ranked number 1 through 8,
Yeah, you can't.
you
Play, you can't be
cannot.
in the same group.
You will not be in the same group as anybody from 1 through 8, and that's why it
Okay.
matters so
Okay.
much
Okay.
because Brazil will never end up playing
Germany
Argentina
and
in the
yeah.
first round, the same group. They're never going to be in the same group, right? That's why it matters because if you don't want to end up playing, 2 or 3 powerhouses at a time, you have to be ranked 1 through 8, and it takes 3 to 4 years to get that ranking up. However, it's not just about rankings because look at Chile. Chile is one of the greatest
10.
teams we've ever seen in the last 30 years, and they did not qualify for the cup because they couldn't get it together. They couldn't take it seriously enough to when they were coming together to play South American teams to qualify, and they didn't qualify. It's kind of sad because we really wanted to see that team.
I mean, but you also have to take into consideration they're in the CONMEBOL, right?
Right. South America.
That's a hard qualifier right there, man. You
Right.
have like the division's loaded with teams, man. Because you have Brazil, you have Argentina, you have Uruguay. Those 3 teams by themselves, like they have some chance.
Colombia.
You have Colombia, but Colombia, like they're not like nobody's picking them to win the World Cup. Brazil and Argentina, a lot of people are picking them.
I would
Uruguay,
say
a lot of people are having them
Colombia's
go
a
far.
dark horse though.
Yeah,
Sort
they're
of a
really
dark
good.
horse.
Yeah, they're really good. So you have them, and then you have Peru coming out of the shadows for like 30 years or something like that, you know?
From the Inca Empire.
From the Inca Empire to make the World Cup.
From Machu Picchu,
From
all the way down to Russia.
Of Machu
man.
Picchu.
Yeah, dude.
You have, who else do you have? You have Chile.
Right.
You have, Venezuela. You have
Bolivia.
Well, those...
Argentina.
But for sure...
Uruguay, Paraguay.
Because how many teams go to the World Cup from the CONMEBOL? Because you have right now, you have Argentina, you have Brazil, you have Uruguay, you have Colombia.
Peru.
And Peru. 5.
I think it's
right?
5.
But
Yeah.
you see those 5 teams are solid. And then you still have like teams that didn't make it, like Chile, that are still solid.
Right.
That would have easily taken the place of another team.
Well, it should have been Chile instead of Peru.
Yeah.
That's what it should have been.
But I mean, Peru hasn't, like I told you the last time, Peru, they haven't lost like in a while.
They
man.
look solid.
They look
those
solid,
Peruvians can run for days, dude. I mean, those little Inca dudes,
Yeah.
they don't get tired.
Well, they're not all small, but
I mean, well, compared to like the Germans and
they're all
the
tall.
English, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, these are like small little Inca dudes, right? But anyway, all right. So who are the favorites? The favorites are obviously Brazil, Germany, and then you have Argentina, France,
Spain.
and Spain. Or was it Spain and France? It doesn't really matter.
They're all favorites.
Yeah, so those 5, right? Those are the betting favorites. When we were in Vegas, I was looking at the papers and the charts of who were the betting favorites, and every casino was a little different, but most had Brazil or Germany number 1 and number 2 to be the favorite.
They actually had the same odds.
Right,
6-1 or something.
No, 7-2.
Something
7
like
for
that.
every
But
2.
They both were like
Yeah.
the same. Yeah.
So anyway, my pick for the World Cup is Brazil. Why? Because Brazil has young talent, but this young talent is incredible. I mean, you have Neymar, who's still very young, right? The biggest superstar in the world right now, probably, besides Messi and Ronaldo.
But you didn't rank them top 5, remember?
What?
Remember when I asked you?
But he's a superstar. What I'm saying is...
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you're a superstar. Can he play? I think he can play. I put him top 3 players in the world. David, he said he wasn't a top 3 player.
I don't think he's a top 3 player, but...
You didn't even think he was a top 5 player.
Probably not. But when you... By himself, no. Like at PSG or something, no. When you put him on a Brazil squad, he is probably like number 2 in the world. But behind Messi, probably. Right? Or Ronaldo.
The team.
Yeah. When you put him on... When I could play on Brazil's squad, and I would be awesome. Like, because the team would carry me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll just sit there and, in the middle of the field and just try to kick a ball or something, once I get tired. But Brazil is Brazil, man.
Yeah.
They have Coutinho, Firmino, William, Marcelo, Neymar. I mean, every player I just mentioned are top level players in the world, the top clubs in the world. And these guys are merciless. They're ruthless. They're fast. I mean, they're the fastest players in the world.
Not only that, man, they're like creative.
And they could stop on a dime. They're skilled. It's insane.
I think that's the thing with the Brazilians, man. I think it's not so... They're very athletic, but I think it's more of the creativity, Like, they're not so... They're, like, you don't know what they're going to do.
Right.
Like, they'll stop. They'll, like, move to
they
the right,
create
to the
on the
left.
fly.
Yeah, they create, like...
Everything's
like
created
that.
on the
Boom,
fly.
boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
As opposed to Germany...
They're very structured.
Who's ranked number 2, they're a machine. They're a mechanical machine that is organized, it's structured. These dudes are very big, strong, athletic, and everything is calculated, right? And they play like it's beautiful the way they play.
Well,
right?
I wouldn't say it's beautiful.
Well,
they're just very
but it's like a boxer, right? If you look at a boxer who's very structured, it's beautiful to watch. But when you get a guy who's very unorthodox and can throw punches from different angles, it's also beautiful, but it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And you say, well, who's gonna win? The guy who has a lot of experience, is very structured, or the guy who can throw punches from all different angles and you never know what's gonna happen, right? Like a Lomachenko, right? Or versus a Mikey Garcia, right? That's what we have here with Brazil and Germany.
That's true.
So both teams are powerhouses. Both teams are going to bring it. both teams are going to win at least one game, like 7-0, right, in their groups.
Not against this team.
So we'll see. Argentina is another team. Argentina is, they have always. You look at their roster. I mean, you could make a case that their roster is better than Brazil's, right? Just based on the names, based on experience, play by play. But they, for some reason, they can never, ever bring it together. Just like Spain. Spain always has an amazing team, but they can never bring it together. They always choke.
Well, they brought it together 2 World Cups ago.
Right, but it was what, like 20 years in the making? Those guys had been playing with each other for like 15 years until finally they won a World Cup.
This Spanish Cup, man. This Spanish team, they're solid, man.
They're solid, but...
They're a solid team.
They were solid last World Cup, too.
Didn't they beat our Argentina 4-1 in a friendly? Like...
Oh, yeah, but I don't think it was like... You know, you're always missing players. And it's not World Cup level. It's
no, those were World Cup level games. Because these are the teams that
they weren't qualifiers.
No, they weren't qualifiers. They were friendlies, but they were World Cup level games because they were trying to prepare like the squad that they have that was going to go to the World Cup.
Right.
So that they were trying to play like all their stars. So for sure they had their stars in there because I know Messi played.
But I think they took him out after like 30 minutes or something like that.
Probably, but 4-1.
But it's different, dude. It's different when you're talking about a friendly qualifier and a World Cup game.
Right,
I mean, you go all out. This is 4 years you've been waiting for this. Mm-hmm. And then for a lot of guys who are playing soccer and this is like their 3rd World Cup, this is it. They have no more chances. Messi, this is probably his last World Cup. Ronaldo, this is definitely his last World Cup. Players like a lot of players from Argentina, it's their last World Cup because they've been doing it for so long. Spain, same thing. So, you know, I think Ronaldo is going to bring it hardcore. He knows this is his last chance.
And Messi, too.
Messi's going to bring it hardcore. They're going to go head-to-head if they ever play. It's going to be like Real Madrid versus Barcelona, the way we see it every single year. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be, you know, even if you don't like soccer, if you know, these two teams play, you have to watch it. It'd be magical, right? Brazil versus Spain, Brazil versus anybody is always magical, you know? So who do you have as your dark horse? And we had a debate on what is a dark horse, right? But who do you think out of the teams that we did not name, who do you think has a shot to make it maybe even to the final?
To the final, wow.
Like it's like a Cinderella team. They have decent players, and they have a shot.
Well, there's a couple, man. I mean, you have Belgium. They have solid players. They have Lukaku, De Bruyne. They have Hazard.
And Big Bird.
they have a couple of players. Fellaini.
Fellaini's Big Bird.
Yeah. They have they just have a solid squad. You have England. They have a good crop of solid players too. You have a young squad, so I mean they could maybe possibly crack the top 4. Maybe I don't think they'll go all the way. Maybe top 8.
Right.
You have who else? Uruguay. Uruguay has a young team. You know, they have a good forwards. And then you have, who else? I want to say Mexico, but I don't want to be so biased. But I know Mexico has a solid squad. The thing is, with Mexico, they're in a very, very difficult group. So, and even if they make it out of the group stage, they're going to have like a difficult opponent for the round of 16. So, I don't know if Mexico will make it this far. I'm hoping they do, and I'm confident that they will, but...
So me and you have constant debates about Mexico, right? I'm a big U.S. fan, and I'm very heartbroken that the United States is not in this World Cup, and it angers me every time I think about it that they're not in. So, you know, being Mexican American, my next team has to be Mexico. Like I have to root for Mexico, even though sometimes I root more for Brazil than I root for Mexico, because growing up, like everybody roots for Brazil. Like it's just, everyone wants to be on the Brazilian national team. As a kid, that's who you look up to. Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo. I mean, all the trophies that they have. But I'm a Mexican, and I have to root for my Mexican people. But what I don't like is the fans. The Mexican fans, dude, they're so delusional. They're like cowboy fans, and we've already had this discussion, right? Like, you know, you're more calm about it. You're more cerebral about discussing what's going to happen. But most Mexican fans, you'll ask them, we're going to win the World Cup. It's like, shut your mouth. Like, you're stupid.
But look,
stop. And I know what it's the World Cup. You should say that your team's going to win the World Cup. That's what you should be doing, right? I get it. But when we're having just a decent conversation and we're one-on-one, you know that you're probably not going to beat Germany in the first game. I think Germany's going to win at least 2 or 3-0. I hope they don't. Because I'm Mexican. I'm rooting for Mexico. But let's be, honest about this. The Germans are a powerhouse. Mexico brings it during the World Cup. They do. Every World Cup they bring it. I don't know that this team, this coach, they have it in them to beat Germany. And the thing about the Mexicans is they get demoralized once they get beat. I mean, you could just see it. The fans, they start rooting for other teams and shit. Like, what the hell? Even the Mexican players, they look all down and everything. Yeah. And that's a problem. So what's going to happen if Germany, destroys Mexico? Are they even going to get out of the group? I mean, that's a question mark we have. That is
a question, yeah, because it's a difficult group.
All right, so now I'll let you, because you're the big Mexico fan, I'll let you last word.
Well, you know what? The thing is, I'm not going to be a delusional Mexico fan, but the thing is, if you're in the World Cup, if you're not in it to win it, well, then why the hell are you in it? So when you ask the fans, who do you think's going to win the World Cup? Of course they're going to say Mexico, man. I'm not going to tell you, hey, I think Mexico's going to lose. No, I'm going to tell you all the time, I think Mexico has a chance to win. And the reason I say that is because I believe that they have, a solid core of players. They really do. They have a decent midfield. They have decent forwards. The defense is a little shaky. The goalie is decent. So, I mean, if they just have to bring it together. The problem with Mexico is they just don't play collectively. But if they could just get everything running and going and play collectively, I think they're a force to reckon with. As far as the first game with Germany, like I've told you before, call me delusional, but I think it's going to be a draw. I don't have Mexico winning because, it's Germany. But I do see it as a 2-2 draw, so I'm going to put that on record.
2-2?
2-2 draw,
Jesus.
Yeah. With Germany, pressing hard.
With Germany coming back 0-2 to tie it?
To tie it.
Get the hell out of here.
So I have Germany, Mexico, 2-2 in the first game. Mexico always shows up for the World Cups. They always exit the group stage, so,
okay.
Hopefully they exit this group, because it's a difficult group. But even then, if they exit the group, I know the first place of the group plays the second place of the group that's next to them or something like that. Right. And the group that's next to them, their first place plays the second seed for the group that Mexico's in. So a lot of people say Germany's going to go first, Mexico's going to go second. So if that's the case, Mexico goes second, they're going to play the first seed for, I don't know what group it is, but Brazil's in that group. And chances are high that Brazil's going to take the group.
It's not looking good, man.
Yeah, so,
But look, here's the thing. If you're saying they're going to draw 2-2, they're going to score 2 on Germany. And they're going to draw. They're going to come away with a point.
Yeah, 1 point.
Then if that happens, let's just say that does happen on Sunday, then I am forced to say that I think Mexico can win the World Cup. Because Germany is the betting favorite. Right? They're the powerhouse. They're the ones that are supposed to repeat. There's something that nobody's done in 50 years or something like that, right? So if Mexico can do that, then yes, they have a chance to win the World Cup. There's no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. But I can't say that right now because I don't even think they can beat France. I don't think they can beat not even England. I don't even think they can beat England, man, because England's squad and France's squad, they're so young and so talented and so fast. Skillful. Athletic. I mean, they all play in the Premier League or the La Liga or the Bundesliga, and it's just hard. It's going to be hard, man. But vamos Mexico. Let's root for Mexico. All my Mexican fans out there. all my USA fans, we have the cup for 2026. It's gonna be awesome, dude. It's gonna be freaking awesome. I want to go to a game in New York, Toronto, Mexico City, Monterrey, even somewhere like Santa Clara or in Atlanta, the new stadium they have. It's gonna be amazing, dude. So
how do you feel about that? Because I was reading a lot of the feedback from the cities that they chose, and I know like a lot of it is business now. So, I mean, of course, they're going to place a lot of the games in the USA, but a lot of people are complaining because, like, honestly, like, when you compare Mexico and the USA in terms of, like, soccer fever and the fans and, like, the history of the sport, Mexico by far, like, beats out USA in terms of, like, fans and like, the history of the sport and everything. So, well, I just feel like they kind of gave Mexico kind of, like, the bad end of the stick, because I think there's only like 3 cities in like 10 games. Canada gets like 10 games.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, dude. First of all, it was going to be just the U.S. bidding, and I think, and I'm actually kind of mad because I think we could have won the bid alone, right? There was no way Morocco was going to beat the USA anytime, right? But because they switched the format from 32 teams to 48 teams. You need a lot more cities, a lot more stadiums, a lot more hotels, a lot more airports. Mm-hmm. So the U.S. did Mexico a favor and Canada a favor by allowing them, like, hey, let's do a joint World Cup. Because by yourself, Mexico, you're not going to get it. You're not going to beat us out of it. Canada, you have no shot in hell. You're like our stepbrother. You're not going to get it, so let's do it together.
Okay, why do you say, though, Mexico has no chance in beating the USA? Because they have the stadium.
Because first of all, we had been bidding for a long time. Right. We didn't get the last one, and it was our turn to get it. So if Mexico would have tried,
it was North America's turn.
North America.
Because last time you guys got it in '94. Well, the USA got it in '94.
Right. So but the way things are going, like I think a lot has to do with the cartel wars.
Well, yeah,
and all that stuff. Mexico did not have a chance. That's why Mexico didn't even bid.
Right.
Why hasn't Mexico bid in 12, 15 years? Because things are not really good. You know, they got to clean it up, and once they clean it up, they can get it again. But I think the USA did Mexico a favor, and I think having Mexico helped the USA out too.
Yeah.
Because the opening game is going to be in Azteca.
Oh, that's
the opening ceremony. The opening game is going to be in Azteca, and the closing is going to be in New York, which I think is fitting.
The World Cup's going to be in New York.
The final game will be at MetLife Stadium. Yeah,
they've already said it.
They've already said it. So opening is in Azteca, and the closing is in New York. So I think it's fitting. I think it's a good balance. And in between, you have Houston, you have Dallas. I'm surprised they didn't have Phoenix. Yeah, I'm very surprised, right? Because that stadium would be completely sold out. Even if it was Iran versus Nigeria, you know, it would be completely sold out. It doesn't matter.
When I bought this jersey, I actually went to go see Uruguay in Mexico in Phoenix.
Right.
The stadium was banging, dude.
Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't matter. It's a World Cup game. People will be there, especially in America, because Americans travel. Mm-hmm. Australians travel, Germans travel, the French travel, the English travel, and Americans travel. That's the people who travel the most. You'll see that anywhere you go in the world, you see those people there. And to not have the USA in this World Cup really hurt the World Cup because less people are traveling. And then, but I don't know, because there was a big, the big issue with Russia and USA. So I don't know. They advised a lot of USA people to not go. Conspiracy theories. Yeah.
Not in the World Cup.
On the next edition of the World Cup.
Hey, what did you think about that opening game?
I think it was.
Russia, man. Did they just
Dude, it's
arrive
Saudi
on the
Arabia,
scene?
bro. Saudi Arabia.
Dude, it was. Dude, did you know that the rankings? If you look at Saudi Arabia's ranking and Russia's ranking,
they were higher.
They were like literally like 29 and 30, and Russia was like 30.
Yeah.
And they beat out Saudi Arabia 5-0.
Yeah.
That's a statement.
I think Russia's a solid. Not even solid.
They're playing at home.
Decent.
And you know the Russians.
Yeah, they're playing. Adrenaline's pumping. You're at home.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And I think it really helped them to play Saudi Arabia in the first game because now they have experience. Mm-hmm. They have 5 goals behind them, and
Vladimir put it in the stands.
Yeah, I mean the way Uruguay played today was horrible, man.
They barely won, right?
Horrible. Like I think Russia can give Uruguay a run for their money, and so we'll just have to see what happens, man. So. All right, well then that's it for today, and next Friday we might have another World Cup edition, man, because there's gonna be a lot of games, and we're really looking forward to Spain and Portugal right at noon today. So we'll come back and talk about that. We'll talk about Mexico, Germany. We'll talk about Brazil. We'll talk about France. We'll talk about England. All the front runners, Belgium, and we'll see where we go. So. I'll give you the last word, Raymond. Anything about the World Cup?
Let's go Mexico this Sunday.
Okay.
2-2.
Something that has the real substance behind it.
No, man, I'm just looking forward to the games, man. Hopefully it's a good World Cup, and I'm excited. Even if Mexico doesn't do good, I'm still excited. Even if they get eliminated, I'm excited.
Yeah,
the World Cup only happens once every 4 years, so I mean it's an event. So I'm excited, man.
All right, so. That's it, Raymond. That's it for today. And thank you for joining us on another episode of the Sweet Advice Podcast. We're going to be coming to you with some more boxing, some more World Cup, and we're going to have some more interviews. I know we've been slacking a little bit, but we're coming this summer hardcore for you guys, and we're going to have a lot of stuff coming for you. So see you guys next time.